Hey guys, it's Nick with Nick and Live DIY. I have my Wagner Control Pro 130 paint sprayer right here with me today, and I'm going to be unboxing it, showing you guys everything that it comes with, tips and tricks for how to use it, because I've used it on dozens and dozens of projects, and how to clean it. Anything that you could want to know about a paint sprayer, I'm going to show you. So 220 bucks and you get yourself a paint sprayer. So here we go. I have used this on so many projects on my house. And no, this video is not an ad, by the way, just in case anyone's curious, but I have used this literally on dozens of projects. It's been great for the price, 220 bucks. You're not gonna find much better than this. So first of all, it comes with a 1-year extended warranty. Great. Here's what it looks like straight out of the box. Now, there's nothing in that plastic, just the nice Wagner Control Pro paint spray. Little piece of cardboard and a cap over where your hose is going to attach. The plug. And that's pretty straightforward. So, you know, there's not much to it. Right when you first open it, you got your primer nozzle, both spray and prime. Your on and off switch right here, your primer nozzle right there. Let's go into the actual tank. So lid pops off really easy. It's a little bendy, kind of rubber. This is pretty heavy plastic though. It feels good. You know, it's sturdy, which I like. This is the hose. So this is a 25-foot hose. Really easy to set up. We'll just unwind. You've got the tip attachment. I think this one is, yeah, so this one's the 515. So you can use this one for paints. They have a couple other different tip attachments that you can use. All you see, you know, it just comes right out. So if you want to switch it out, it'll give you a different size tip. You can see this twists. And basically this is going to be a spray tip on one side, which is the flat side. On the other side, this is to clear it. So if your paint sprayer is ever clogged, all you do is turn that around and it'll give you a bigger hole and clear it out real quick. This is going to be your actual handle. And I forgot to put the hose on in the video, so I'll show you guys how to do that. Got your front end spot right here. The hose is going to have a red cap on one side and be clear on the other. So side with the red cap, you're just going to twist that cap out. And as simple as that, it's just going to screw in right here. So I'll do it right here so you guys can see it, but just going to screw in. Then you can grab some channel locks, really whatever you want to use to tighten it. If you want to grab a wrench or something, you can do that. I just use some channel locks because that's what I have. Okay, so you don't go too tight. I give it maybe a quarter to a half of a turn, enough where it's, I mean, it's tight. On the other side, let's just assume you've already unwound it, but you're gonna grab this right here. And same thing, just screws right in. It's super easy. Just make it easier to hold on to. And this will keep you from leaking. Very important to make sure it's pretty tight. So basically at this point, you've got your hose right here with your nozzle, your 515 tip attached, which is stock. And I'm just gonna let you guys know. So I have used this tip for stains, for painting, all different kinds of paint, water-based, oil-based. I've used it for everything and it works. So even if it's not their perfectly suggested tip, it does work, and I can confirm that. I'm gonna walk you through the steps so you can see just how you are when you have it. So pour water into the tank. So make sure there's nothing in it. I did just get a little bit of dust because my garage is dirty, but enough to cover the filter screen. So let me just move my phone right here. And I've just got a little jug of water, so you don't need very much. Okay, so that's just enough to cover the filter screen. And now let's see what it says. So plug in sprayer, turn prime spray knob to prime, and turn on the pump. So you can see that right there. Make sure water disappears into the pump inlet. If not, continue to press until it does. So pretty simple. Just so you guys know, the red switch on the side is going to be on your left side. The circle means off, the line means on. The prime knob, if it's pointing towards the circle, that is prime. If it's pointing towards the little, looks like a pretty obvious handle spraying, then that's going to be spray. So the water is in here, and I'm just going to take my phone off. So we got water in here. We're going to come down. This is on prime right here. To put on spray, it would be sideways. So we're on prime, and here's the switch. So watch, whenever I flip that switch, perfect. So that is priming it. So now that is primed. So you can see the whole purpose of that's to draw the water through and then back in. Obviously now you can see it's going to essentially just go in a repeat cycle. Down the drain, up the hose, back into the drain and down. So that is getting it primed. Then step 3, push or press the inlet pusher a few times. So you come down here, just click on the tip of this. You can see it let out a little bit of air. And then now fill the tank with paint. Hold return tube over waste container, allow the pump to run until you see spray material flowing from the return tube. So I'll show you guys what that is here in a second. Let me just get my paint bucket ready. All right, so I had to close the garage. My neighbor was mowing, it was super loud. Anyways, here is how you are gonna actually prime it. So after you've turned it on, the water's running through. This is what I like to do. I'll take that little bit of water that's in there, just dump it out. You don't need that anymore. Then you're gonna come in with your paint. And you can see that hose is really stiff, so it's actually causing it to stand up. But just grab another bucket and use it as a waste bucket. So I'm going to go ahead and pour the paint in that I'm using. I'm painting my house with this. So try not to splash just because I'm in my garage right now, but pour in as much or as little as you want. If you do too little, sometimes it won't start the pump because it won't actually register. So you want to make sure, you're doing a quarter, maybe half a tank. And it does hold 1.5 gallons. So if you're just pouring in a gallon tank, you might have to pour in most of the gallon just to fill it up. So right there, I did probably 3/4 of a gallon. And what it's saying in this instruction, so now you can understand it a little bit better. So this 4th part is saying, fill the tank with paint, hold the return tube over the waste container, allow the pump to run until you see spray material flowing from the return tube. What that means is you're gonna be turning this now over here. And we want the water that was in the tank prior to run into this bucket instead of running back into the paint. So I'm gonna flip the switch. The water that's now down in there is gonna run through here. Once the paint is gonna come up and start going into my waste, I'm gonna turn it real quick, put it back into here, and then that cycle is now with paint instead of with water. So let me turn this on, and then what you're gonna do is turn the knob to spray, and it's gonna start pushing the spray all the way down the hose, or the paint, instead of water. So here we go. So I didn't want to get it all over my garage. Does the same thing, and then you can kind of snap this back into place in here. Turn it sideways so it'll fit. Perfect. Okay, so now that cycle is going. You'll see when I turn it on. Paint is perfect. Now normally that lid's gonna be on, so it doesn't really matter. And then you're pretty much good to go. So the only difference now is you're gonna turn to spray, and rather than going through the primer hose, it's gonna go down your main hose all the way down till it gets here. So you'll notice the noise is gonna be different as it's filling the hose. It takes a while, and I'll actually show you the hose as this is happening because it's going to be filling this hose with paint. No compressors needed. It does everything itself. This is an airless paint sprayer, so you don't have to have a compressor. But watch what it does. You'll see this hose moving as it's filling up. And once this stops running, that means that is ready to spray. At any point that you're spraying, it's going to be making noise because the pump is repressurizing essentially. And so it'll never stop spraying. That's the great part. You don't have to wait for something to build up. But yeah, as you're spraying, this will be running as well. So I'm gonna turn this on. That's gonna fill up the hose all the way down. It's gonna take a little bit, but you guys can just watch that. So that's the exact noise. Didn't take very long. But now the second I spray this, which I'll spray it into the inside of the box. The second I spray it, you'll hear this pump start running again. So this is, and just like that. So that's how it's gonna be whenever you're spraying. It'll turn back on. I don't wanna do it in here because I'm not wearing the proper clothes, but I am gonna go change, paint my house, and I will show that. So just a couple things to note. You can see the finish is very smooth. It's not hard to use. As you can see, I just do up and down lines, pretty straightforward. But I wanna say, make sure that you're masking things well. There is some overspray. Nothing too concerning, but it definitely will get a lot of paint particles in the air, and you wanna be wearing a mask, a respirator, goggles. I like to wear full eye covering whenever I'm spraying. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments, message me on Instagram, whatever you prefer, I'll answer any of them. But here is the cleaning process. So I always start, I do it in my backyard just because it can be a little bit messy, but I always start by washing out the tank. First things first, get all of the paint out. I spray out the filter a bunch of times. I just dump it out, usually into my grass on the side of my house. This was a water-based paint, so I'm just using water to clean it. But if you're using oil-based paints or stains, you need to use a spray cleaner that you can buy at Home Depot or Lowe's. It's pretty cheap. The process for this usually goes like me pouring clean water and cleaning out the tank, running that clean water through the sprayer by just spraying all the paint into that bucket first, like you just saw, and then running water continuously through that sprayer until I don't see any more paint coming out of it. I also do the same thing with the primer. So I'll fill the bucket with clean water. I'll turn the primer out into the grass or into the bucket, get all the paint out first, and then just keep running until I'm seeing no more white paint coming out of the sprayer or out of the primer. All of the components of that handle and nozzle you can just set into a cup or a bucket in some cleaning solution overnight if you want. I often just clean them off with water and I leave them, and it's never been an issue for me. Same with the hose. I actually keep the water inside of the hose, and I've done that for long periods of time, and it has never been an issue either, as long as there's no paint or anything other than water inside the hose line. I hope you guys learned something. I appreciate it. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow for more videos like this.